Hi everyone, this is Brian from Provision Studios, and today we are going to be on I guess the second part of a video that we did previously with the calibration of our Soundcraft Signature Series console. Today we are going to take a plug-in by Waves called the Q Clone, and I'm going to show you how to calibrate it with the console and how you would use that, or I should say, one way you would use it in the studio. All right, so basically, the Q clone allows you to take your EQ on your console and copy those EQ curves onto the Q clone plugin and put it across your audio tracks. So here is the Q capture, which what this does is this sends a test tone through your console. So you can see here on analog 13, if I take this mute off, you're going to hear it. That's it. That is the test tone that the Q capture sends. All right, okay. So then what you would do is, let's say on track 13, and in this example, I have the bass track is running through it. You would put an instance of Q clone. So basically, it starts out in hold mode. I like to go to put my scale at 16 dB. It'll come at 30 dB. I'll go to 16 dB, and then when you hit capture, now basically what you're doing is we're going to turn on our test tone again, and there is our EQ. I'm going to stop talking so that it stops reading my voice and just show you what we're doing here. So you can see we're able to get any moves I make on the console are going to be mimicked in the plugin. So if you actually, let me mute that again real quick. All right, so let's say we got an instrument track that we want to take the EQ off the console and put it on our Q clone plugin. First thing we need to do is we need to have an EQ setting on the console that we want to use. So in this case, I'm going to use the bass track. It is isolated, and we're going to hit play. All right, let's say we're good to go with that EQ. That's cool. Okay. Next thing we want to do is we want to set up our Q capture to be properly calibrated with the levels on the console. So we can see right here we are at -14, and we are at -14.9 on the console. So So now we are sending this signal at negative 14 dB, and we are receiving this signal through the console at negative 14. So at that point, we can go to the Q-Clone plugin, we can enable it, and we can hit capture. And there is the EQ curve that we just set on the console. And if I hit hold now, what it's going to do is the Q-Clone is actually going to capture this EQ curve. I'm going to stop talking so it'll stop reading my voice. There we go. All right, now I can mute again the Q Capture plugin. We don't need that test tone anymore. And what I've done now is I have taken the EQ curve off of the console and I have stored it in the Q-Clone plugin. So now I can reset my EQs on my console and know that those settings are stored in the Q-Clone for this EQ that I just mixed. So if I bring up the bass track again, there's my EQ setting that I just mixed on the console with. So you can hear the difference between the two based, and I'm able to level match them here on the plugin itself. So I'm in effect getting the EQ off of my console without needing to actually set my console for that track. So based on piggybacking off of the previous video, we've calibrated our faders. Now, in a way, I'm going to say this, but it's not really. I've calibrated my EQ. Not really, but I've set up my EQ. I've stored my EQ in this plugin so that I know I don't have to recall any of my EQ settings. I can go ahead and mix my session, and then when I'm happy with the EQ settings off the console, I can use the Q-Clone plugin in tandem with the Q Capture plugin and pull all those EQ settings off the console and store them in the box in my Q-Clone, so that this session then, once I'm done with it, I've got it all in the box, so I can come back to this session a week from now, a month from now, a year from now, and actually bring this session back up. And no matter where my settings are on the console, I can always recalibrate my faders the way I did in the previous video, zero out my EQ settings, and I'm going to have my mix again, just like that. So for anyone that has used the Soundcraft Signature Series consoles, they'll know that if you're working on multiple mixes, one after another, it can sometimes get frustrating to have to write down maybe where all your settings are. Or as I used to do, I used to actually take a camera over the console and take a picture of it, a high resolution, high definition picture. And then if I wanted to do a session recall, I would bring the picture up on one of my monitors, and then I would match all of my console moves to get the mix back. This makes it where I don't have to worry about any of that. I can get the mix I want, with my EQs and anything else I got going on, and I can keep them in the session without having to constantly readjust my console to get that mix back. So I'm not sure if everyone can see the value in that. What I'm gonna do real quick is I'm going to bring these tracks in one at a time and show you guys. I've already gone in and pre-Q cloned the session, so I'm going to go in and show you guys, you know, what it sounds like before the EQ and after the EQ. All right, so this is basically. All right, bass is out. This is just. That's just drums right there. All right, so we got that. That's with the EQ off the console. Okay, that's without. Now, that's just how I mix it on the console. I've got Studio Rack with a preset on it, FG Gray, and then Tape Machine from Steam and Slate going. But the Q clone, that's without console EQ, and that's with. And you can see my EQ curve right here. The guitars I didn't use the Q clone with because I did not EQ them through the console. I EQ'd them in the box and I was fine with what was going on there. Next one is going to be Analog 5 and 6.
Years, you look back at your life when nobody cared. You've given up logic and reason for things that are not there. Wouldn't your life be great if you could have anything you wanted to fake? Let's take it from mine, it doesn't work all the time. It'll leave you feeling so dead inside from the hearts you break. No, don't take it away from me. I told you people once before.
So you can hear the before and after the Q clone there. Background vocals, I just copied the same EQ settings because those were fed through the same bus. All right, next one would be the lead guitar. So they were 7 and 8. Let's go to the lead guitar section of the song. That's before. All right. As you can hear what we were doing there. Let's go back to that and turn that back on. All right. Synths. Pre, post, pre, post. All right, so that's, that's pretty much what we got going on. I'm going to go to a chorus, bring everything in. That's pre. there you go. All right, so I was going back and forth between the Q clones enabled and then the Q clones bypass. So you could hear how I was going in and out with my console EQ settings. And then you can save them. So basically what I did with all of these is once I got the EQ settings that I needed, I would click save and put into preset menu as, and then I would type in what it was. So then, like, I'm going to do several songs for this band. To just mimic this mix on other songs, I would, you know, on the next synth track, I'll bring my Q clone up, I'll hit load here, and then I'll select, because this is the synth track, I will put synth bus load, and then the EQ settings that I created for this track on this song, I'll be able to pull instantiate on the other song. So I should be able to dial that mix in. Again, calibrated faders, Q cloned EQ settings. I should be able to get within the ballpark real easy of this console mix on every song after that by this band. Let me know if you have any questions about this. I'm trying to explain it as logically as I can. This may come across as confusing, and I get that. Basically, the reason why I'm doing this is I'm trying to keep from having to constantly reset my console to a previous mix every time I come back to that mix after I've mixed another song, or not getting into a mix for another band because another client of mine has me mixing a song of theirs on my console, and I'm scared to tear down that mix, start mixing another song, in fear I won't be able to get back to the mix that my client is liking. You know, sometimes it can take 3 or 4 or 5 mix submissions with a client where they're like, oh yeah, that one's close, but can you adjust this? And then if you're always resetting the board in between those mixes that you're sending off, there's a chance that they're going to say, hey man, what happened to this one mix? It doesn't sound the way it did before, you know. So this is a way to get consistent results, mix after mix after mix, especially when you are mixing for multiple clients and all at once, or all within a short amount of time of one another. I hope this makes sense. If you guys have any questions, email me, bbuck822@gmail.com. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. You can, as always, leave a comment in the video here. I try to answer all the comments as fast as I can. You can go to my website, www.provisionstudios.com. Check out what I got going on there. There's also a contact feature there, so you can message me there, and I'll get the message also. And until the next video, I hope you guys have a great time mixing. I'll see you soon. All right, bye-bye now.